This is Lapidary Dave, and today I will be working a piece of this beautiful material. Turritella Agate, I believe is the way it's pronounced. When I bought a lot from a friend and this material was in there, I posted it on Rock and Stone Identification Group, and folks told me what this was. I then was looking it up, expecting to see it categorized probably more like a fossil, but more people consider this agate. It's tough to see in this rougher piece, but little agate brown and yellow spots all throughout. That rough stuff looks beautiful. Pieces I worked. Easier to see that these are agates. Side of this agate are actually snails. I recently looked up a video to find out how to pronounce Turritella, and I found a cool video of a gentleman who made a quick little video called Searching for Living Fossils or something, Turritella, and he takes folks to the island where these creatures are still alive. Little cutie snails. I apologize, I don't know where that gentleman is from, but it should be really easy to find the video where he takes you to the island and he shows you a big slab of this. Much like other materials, can be cut different ways. This is the way I would always suggest cutting, where you can see the length of those little snails. Of the best way to cut it, in my opinion, and this is about just as good. This piece was the first piece I ever polished, and as you can see, it has these little circles. Those are kind of like the end of the snails. These snails, when they fossilize, are kind of like laid down horizontally, I guess, together or something. And so more often than not, you'd see the length of these shells like this together. Usually such. But this cut, yes, I would say I probably did the wrong side of the stone. Probably should have polished this side to get some of the full length of the snails. I also experienced a little bit of this material firsthand. It blew out right along like a shell pattern, so I guess you do have to keep an eye out for that. But besides that, this material is pretty easy to carve, extremely foul smelling, really bad smelling. In its rough state. Don't know what's up with this right here, probably didn't fossilize as well, but the middle there is really like a cool little agate center. Whatever that is. I don't believe this material is too expensive. It is pretty tough. One of the softer agates I've ever cut, but it's still an agate and still pretty darn tough. I can imagine it being fantastic jewelry. These pieces are actually already spoken for. They're fantastic. I think I will be working this piece. I'll be making this into a little cabochon, probably leaving the back rough there. Turritella? Turritella. Beautiful little snails. Machine. The old easy cab. Checking out this stone. A little bit easier to see when it's wet. Alrighty. Not every angle catches the snail shape perfectly, being the least desirable of all my angles. are very good. I think this will be the side that I cab. After I finish the piece, I'll go back and I'll take it to the flat lap and work the back later. Stinky. So I'm going to make sure to have good ventilation. As before, this stone likes to chip out along the little shell patterns, as you can see right there. So even though it's not the hardest agate, I'm not going to work my fastest. Anyway, onto the 80 grit. Alright folks, that's roughly my 80 grit. Pretty cool. A little misleading because it's wet. I didn't shape this too much because I'm going to take it to 220, and that's actually going to remove even more material from the mass. Nice. 280 will definitely take off a lot less material than 220 will, but I really enjoy the high dome stuff. This is 220 grit. Alright folks, that's 220 grit. Still very rough and colorless. When we wetten it up a bit, you can see more of the agates, the browns and reds and black. The initial cut left by whatever saw that cut this was actually finer than 220 grit, so I won't be licking the back pretty much at all. Alrighty, on to the 280 grit. This is the longest taking wheel because it's the first soft wheel that has to remove hard wheel scratches. Alright folks, as you can see, it's starting to get a slight glossiness. All the facets are pretty much visibly gone, and you can't see any scratches, at least not to the naked eye. Those little pits and pocks are natural little fissures throughout the stone. I'm not worried about those at all. I'm after the scratches. This material takes a fantastic polish. Alright, on to 600 grit. Alright folks, that was very fast. That's 600 grit. A lot more color starting to show. You can see a nice sheen on there. I could easily burnish this with some cerium oxide, Fabuluster, or diamond paste and call it a day. But we're going to take this all the way to 3,000. Perhaps then it'll look a little bit more like this. I'm not 100% sure on what I'm going to burnish this with. But in the meantime, I'm going to lick it with 1200 grit. Alright folks, this is 1200 grit dry. As you can see, this material is hard enough to take a fantastic polish at such a low grit. Most stones get their shininess at around 1200 grit. This stone actually started to become shiny between 280 and 600. And 12 made it look like it was over 3000. Great material to carve. Takes a fantastic polish dry. Excuse me, at 1200 grit. This is dry. But it gets even better. Let's take this to 3000 grit. Alright folks, that was very fast. 3000 grit, looking completely glossy, glassy. Full of color and wet. After I wet it, I wonder how much more color even appears. A little bit, not much. almost nothing. The stone does not want to stay wet. That's a good sign. Anyway, after 3,000, I can lick this with some cerium or some Fabuluster, Diamond Compound, Zam, all kinds of fun stuff. I think I'm going to use Fabuluster just because there's not too many pocks and stuff for it to get stuck in. And it's faster. See you folks at the buff. All right. All right, folks, that's that. Fantastic. I'm going to take it back over here next to its sisters. But I want you to see, even at a grit left by the saw, perhaps 280, 360 grit, this stone takes a fantastic polish. Bam. You can even see the saw marks. They're sideways. Awesome stuff. Alrighty. Check that out. Turritella, Turritell. Awesome stuff. Snail agate. Takes a fantastic polish. There's those saw marks. Even rough, it takes a great polish. Its three sisters here are spoken for. They're beautiful too. I wonder what this one will become. Maybe a bead or a pendant or something. Either way, a lot of fun. Hope you had fun. I'm sure I could go on and on about these little beautiful snails stuck in agate. I love the rough stuff. I really like that. The cleavagey stuff. I love you folks. Make sure to subscribe for giveaways, info, and discounts. Well, you can get the info anyway, but you know what I mean. I love you folks. I'll be back to make some more videos when I get back from the Buena Vista Gem Show. Wish me luck. Love you folks. See you next time.